This is going to be
Origin story?
origin story of
Pulls
the
a
deck
knife
shop.
out and everything.
So 4 years ago,
fun story.
2016, 2000,
It was in 15. we did it.
15?
Yep.
we went for supper. Now we have a deck shop.
The end.
We, at the time, I was working a corporate job at SaskTel. I was building decks in the evenings and weekends, enjoyed doing that. Wade was a finish carpenter. He was doing a lot of trim work and working on houses, right?
Yep.
Kitchens, that kind of thing.
Yeah, interior handrails and kitchens. I was tired of carrying tools around, so I wanted to get off the tools. You hadn't done it full time, so you wanted to be on the tools full time.
Yeah,
So we went for dinner with our lovely wives.
yeah. We've known each other since 1997. But in 2015, we had gone for supper with our wives, and I was venting to you about my experiences shopping at lumberyards. And
Yeah, you're
the
just frustrated
frustration.
because you had been to a few trade shows, maybe just one. You just went
Hadn't
to the
been to one yet.
Deck Expo?
No, I hadn't been to one yet, but I was subscribing to like magazines and researching new products online. I hadn't actually been to a show yet. That was coming up in October of that year.
Oh yeah, and we went for dinner in September.
Right. Yeah.
So you were on your way down to the show. There was products that you wanted to get,
Yeah.
and you couldn't get them here.
Right. Nobody wanted to bring anything in. They wanted to just buy what they had.
So you pitched the idea to me that it should be an online store. Let's create an online store.
Yeah, I had heard one too many bogus excuses as to why they couldn't get the products I was asking for. There was
It
all
turns
sorts of
out the
stuff.
one
Trade
was actually-
agreements.
it actually wasn't
Maybe there was
bogus,
some. Maybe there was some
It was
too.
like, yeah, it's NAFTA. We can't get the screws because of NAFTA. And it turns out, well, that's actually true. There was some anti-dumping laws that were in place, and we couldn't get those screws.
There might have been. But it was just wall after wall after wall, people telling me to get off the internet and just buy what they had. And it got to the point where it was like, listen, if nobody's going to bring this stuff in and help me, maybe I should just find a way to import it myself, and I can sell it online to everybody else who's probably looking for these things and being told they can't get it.
Correct.
And so that's where the idea was kind of first born. And so we left that supper not really thinking that anything serious was going to come of it. And I think it was about maybe 2 weeks later that you phoned me and you were like, well, I think we should do this store. And I'm like, yeah, okay, man, if you're in, I'm in, but we have to be a full lumberyard. So let's go. Let's figure this thing out. So
Yeah, so what I had to do, I phoned my dad. Because so he...
that would have been a
my
wise
dad-
first call.
My dad owns a lumberyard, so I phoned him and was like, okay, how do we do this? What does it take to run a lumberyard? And so I sat with him and visited with him, and then we met with the buying group, and we went through that process, and then you promised to buy your materials. You were gonna stop SaskTel, open up Fresh Decks, and we were going to have one contractor. And
Yeah.
so we thought that was enough.
So this happened in like October when we decided we were actually going to do this. And
Correct.
we, over the phone, I remember the phone call being like, if we're going to do this, we're going to have to be at the spring home show. I think that's a super important thing. So we should book that booth right away.
Yep.
And so we did. I think like as early as October, maybe early November, we booked the home show booth in March.
For March, yeah.
And it was like, okay, well, there's our date. We have to be open by then. And so we had 4 months
Yep.
to kick this thing off, being completely naive to how long it takes to acquire a building and get that signed off on.
Yep.
Because we didn't end up getting keys to a building until February 15th.
So then we had a month.
Like, it was like, it was a pretty short turnaround.
Yeah.
So in the meantime, we tried to figure out as much as we could figure out, because at that time we had no idea how logistically the industry was even set up. We had no idea. And it was your dad that was like, listen, you should go talk to this buying group.
Yep.
They can answer a lot of those questions for you. And we sat down with them the one night and we're like, and we asked a lot of these questions, and they did have a lot of the answers for us.
Yeah.
But that's how green we were going into this thing.
Yep.
It was like,
It was really funny. You were asking questions like, where are we going to buy this stuff, and how are we going to get that to people? And and my answer was, we need a forklift.
Yeah.
Like, how are we even going to get this stuff off the truck?
so, and then we found out that if you're going to start a lumberyard, you need to be a part of this association called the WRLA.
You don't have to be, because there are some
Highly
independents.
suggested.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a good group to be in, right? And so,
And so we were like, okay, well, at least we got some direction now. We're going to join this buying group, and then we're going to go to this buying show that happens in January. Again, it's probably a lead from your dad or maybe the buying group where you joined. And so we're like, let's get there. It's in Calgary. We've got to be there because that's going to help us like find the people that we need to talk to and get ourselves face to face, because the phone calls weren't working well at that point.
No,
we were
'cause
phoning
nobody
people and they were just like, what are you doing? We're opening up a lumberyard. Yeah, I don't know how that's going to go. We've got some relationships already. Click. It was like, if we put ourselves
like,
in front of them, they can't then just hang up the phone. They've got to take it seriously.
Who opens a lumberyard, right?
Yeah.
That was kind of the thing. Is like, does a 35-year-old just open a lumberyard? People don't create lumberyards, right? And
Yeah.
so that was a tricky thing. People didn't believe us. And then, so we were filling out credit apps, and we were filling out, different like purchasing agreements and stuff.
Well, the
and
problem
people
we
wanted
ran
to
into-
come to the store all
Yeah.
the time. They were like, we want to see the store. We want to know that you have a brick and mortar location.
And we didn't at that point.
We didn't. It was like, it's not February yet. We're not there.
We just had a big plan. But anyways, we tried to get to this. We were like, okay, we need to go to this show for
when you
WRLA.
play this back, it's like, what?
Sounds a little silly, right?
Holy.
We need to be at this buying show. And so we're like, okay, well, Google WRLA buying show. Okay, well, it's in Calgary and it's the third week in January. Let's go. Click, click, click. Need to be a member. Oh, shoot. Okay.
Well, we're not members.
How do we become a member of WRLA? Well, you pay some money and you have to brick and mortar store. Well, that's tricky because we're not. It's December. We haven't even signed off on a building yet, let alone have keys yet. And so we got creative. And we became employees of the Arcolda Building Supplies, your dad's lumberyard, for a weekend.
So we snuck in.
Snuck in under his
Broke in.
badge.
Yep.
Told some stories, talked to the right people, got your dad in some heat,
Yep.
because he came back 2 weeks later. He's like, why are people asking me why I'm opening a deck store in Regina? Right? That was, maybe we told that story. We didn't know how small this community was. We might have had to say a little bit without saying too much and to get some information out of people. And anyways, long story short, we got keys to the building on February 15th. We worked, and to be fair, we got keys, but the place wasn't done yet from the landlord's perspective either. They were still
Correct.
building the upstairs. Like we couldn't even start in there yet.
Correct.
And so we didn't really get things moving until March. We were trying to be open for March 24th or something like that, because that was going to be the Monday after the home show.
And we did open that day.
No, we opened April 2nd. We
No,
were
but
a
we
week
opened
behind.
for one day. And then we closed
Did we?
again.
Oh yeah, maybe we did.
Because Michelle came in and bought a deck that day.
But that was April 2nd that she did that. I think we did open that day and then we kind of shut down again to finish the displays. Because she came in after the home, so the home show went great. We did the home show, we had this tiny little booth buried in a corner, and for some reason we were just slammed the whole weekend. It was
Energy.
like, oh, this should be really good. And then the first day we opened, 10 o'clock, Michelle, our first customer ever, walks in and buys a deck, and it was like $11,000 or $12,000 of composite decking. And we're like, and she shouldn't have. Like,
If she would have known how I felt, she wouldn't have.
we had 2 of our 6 displays done. The rest were unfinished. The walls were mudded but not painted. There was nothing going on there. We had our
That's why I think it was.
cash register, which is like a debit machine that we got that day or the day before, like that morning or something, and we set that up on a cardboard box 6 feet in front of the front door.
Yeah.
A U-line box, because we'd ordered our first lumber bander.
Yeah.
And we had the debit machine sitting on that with a laptop, because we had no desk yet.
Yeah.
And she came in, we showed her some stuff. She sat down on that corner deck, that TimberTech one, and she bought TimberTech Silver Maple from us. And
Clubhouse Ironwood.
we rang her in, and she left, and we're like, holy smokes, here we go. I think we're getting closer and closer to what the dream was at this point, to what the ideal, to what the vision was when we opened these things. Our vision wasn't